Hey everybody, I'm back. My bad, I took a little bit of time off for a wedding, and I'm glad to see I didn't miss anything in that time.
Meanwhile, Elon Musk is keeping his word, announcing that he's forming a new political party.
With the stroke of his pen, President Trump signed his massive tax cut and spending package, dubbed the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, into law.
We're going to go to another weather alert. There's tropical storm Chantel making landfall in South Carolina earlier this morning, bringing heavy rain and strong winds to several states in the mid-Atlantic.
Russia once again bombarding Ukraine on Saturday.
Well, I didn't miss anything important, that is, except for apparently another wedding. Yes, the wedding between Jeff Bezos, who looks like he moisturizes his scalp with the tears of Amazon warehouse workers, and Lauren Sanchez, who broke barriers as the first facelift in space. It was truly a royal affair. Apparently the wedding reached over $50 million in cost. $50 million for a party. And for $50 mil, that wedding cake better have been made out of solid gold. $50 million for a destination wedding in Venice. And let me tell you, the Venetians did not appreciate their city being turned into a theme park for billionaires for a week. They were on the Rialto Bridge with a sign reading, "No space for Bezos." They pushed a dummy of Bezos into the canal, who was wearing a spacesuit and gripping an Amazon package and a fistful of cash. They unfurled a giant banner on Piazza San Marco that read, "If you can rent Venice for your wedding, you can pay more tax." And on the other hand, there was about 200 unbothered celebrities and other ultra-rich people there to enjoy the festivities. I mean, everybody was there. Orlando Bloom was there, who apparently was not as connected to love as Katy Perry was. Tom Brady was there. Ozempra, Sydney I Sold My Bathwater Sweeney, and the entire Kardashian clan. And my first question upon seeing all of this is, does Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez have any actual friends? Like, seriously, how much do Jeff Bezos and Tom Brady actually hang out? I mean, I get it, 200 people is a decent sized wedding, but it's not so big that Khloe Kardashian gets an invite, right? I mean, Kim, sure, but Khloe? And I mean, Bill Gates is there too? Now you're inviting people from work to your wedding? You invited your work husband to your wedding. 7 out of the 200 people at this wedding were the children from previous marriages of Bezos, Boyd, and Sanchez. You're telling me you couldn't find another 193 people without having to go to Usher? That's all I'm asking. Leonardo DiCaprio was there too with his 27-year-old girlfriend. And if Leonardo DiCaprio dating someone over the age of 25 isn't a recession indicator, I don't know what is. And the point is, it's almost like Jeff and Lauren here were having the most try-hard attempt at an American royal wedding while having no genuine loved ones there whatsoever. And I'm not just saying that because I'm an ass, though I am an ass. I'm saying it because they're saying it. Ellie Goulding performed the exact same song at the wedding as she did at the wedding of Prince William and Kate Middleton. And here's Lauren Sanchez's older brother describing the wedding, quote, "It's going to be like a Princess D thing. It's going to be an amazing event. There will be lots of fun and star-studded." Yes, lots of fun and star-studded. And I'm not gonna lie, possibly the only thing more cringe than royalty is people trying to be royalty. Welcome back to the Roaring Twenties, folks, and it's somehow more excessive, extravagant, and immoral than it was the first time around. And just so that nobody forgets, does anyone remember what followed the Roaring Twenties? It was a little something called the Great Depression. The Great Depression, which is also what my Claro playlist is titled, was not a good time. The Great Depression, which was caused by a confluence of factors, including absurd wealth inequality, rampant speculation in the stock market, high tariffs, and environmental disaster. Wealth inequality, rampant speculation, high tariffs, and environmental disaster. Does that sound familiar to anyone? Just me? Maybe it's just me. All I'm asking is, at what point is enough enough? At what point do we all collectively go, hey, maybe this isn't the direction we want society to go in? A society that's not even like the bottom 20% are getting screwed, but the bottom 99% are getting screwed. And maybe you're like, well, hey, Mark, how does Jeff Bezos' wedding affect me at all? I love Prime 2-day delivery. How else would I get my Amazon brand ranch dressing delivered to me with such speed? I don't feel like I'm getting screwed with my 16% off Amazon Essentials casual strappy sandals for Prime Day. Well, let me tell you a story. In 1965, the ratio of CEO to worker pay was 21 to 1. So if a worker was making $50,000, then their CEO was making $1 million. Pretty sweet, huh? $1 million bucks. Not bad. Today, though, things have gone just a little bit sweeter for the CEO. In 2020, the ratio of CEO to worker pay was 351 to 1. As in, the desk jockey gets $50K, and the CEO gets like 20 million. Look at the charts of the distribution of family wealth in the US in 1963 versus today. We went from a healthy hill of capitalism to a lopsided half-pipe of poverty. And that's not natural, nor is it inevitable, because let's be clear, the ultra-rich aren't getting richer in a vacuum. They're getting richer because everybody else is getting poorer. The US today has more wealth inequality than any developed nation. 20% of Americans make less than $15 an hour, which is a poverty wage for a family of 4. People can't afford homes. They're in every kind of debt imaginable, including student debt, more alienated than ever, and our politics has become more polarized as a result. Meanwhile, we're on track to see the first trillionaire in our lifetime. And we could talk all day about the causes of this, the Reagan Revolution, the decline of unions, globalization, but honestly, every cause is in one way informed by a single problem. And the problem is that money buys power, and power buys you more money. On the 4th of July, which is Independence Day, which is just Pride Month with less colors, Donald Trump signed the One Big Beautiful Bill into law. A bill which is beautiful in the same way that Eric Trump isn't a disappointment. The big bullshit bill adds $3 trillion to the deficit in what can only be described as a tax on the poor and a tax giveaway to the ultra-rich. $2.2 trillion of the bill is to extend tax cuts, which primarily benefit the wealthy, which is paid for in part by making student loans more expensive, slashing hundreds of billions of investments in clean energy, and reducing funding for and access to Medicaid, which is going to strip health insurance away from about 16 million Americans. But of course, that provision to take away your healthcare doesn't kick in until 2027, after the midterm elections, which I'm sure is just a crazy coincidence. 16 million Americans won't be able to see a doctor anymore, rural hospitals will close, and for what exactly? To give the richest Americans a tax break. And rest assured, it's not just a tax break for the richest. If you're certain kinds of rich, you get some extra goodies. If you're in private equity, you get a little something called the carried interest loophole, which allows Wall Street to basically pay less taxes than firefighters and nurses. Venture capitalists got a $17 billion tax break through an expansion of another loophole that can help them make a fortune tax-free. And here's a curious one. There's $1 billion in tax breaks for spaceports. Spaceports. And who owns spaceports again? Oh yeah, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. Just a little wedding gift from Donnie to his main man Jeff. And if I haven't made my point abundantly clear yet, these people. I mean, there's something for everyone in here, as long as you're rich. Tax breaks for oil and gas companies, $3 billion in tax cuts for real estate investment trusts. But if you're a teacher, a mechanic, a nurse, well, you can go yourself. I mean, these psychopaths included a $1.7 billion tax exemption for firearms in this bill. Guns got more tax benefits than you did in this bill. And only in America could a bill like this pass in broad daylight, and the congressman who voted for it, no peace. The Republican Party, the party of fiscal responsibility, blowing up the deficit to the tune of $3 trillion to make the ultra-rich even richer, and the Fox News crowd is just a-okay with it. Well, I'm f***ing not, and it's not hard to connect the dots between the people who benefit from this bill to the people who pushed for it. Jeff Bezos was right there at Trump's inauguration. He donated to his inauguration. He had Amazon Prime Video give $40 million to Melania for what will probably be the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. He stopped the Washington Post, which is a newspaper that he owns, from endorsing Kamala Harris during the election. In short, he's a billionaire who knows where his bread is buttered. He founded a company that is notorious for abusing its workers, drowning out competition, and destroying the environment. I can kind of guess where he is more at home politically. But Jeff Bezos and his contemporaries aren't just standing with fascism, they're throwing hundreds of millions of dollars behind it. Too many politicians can be bought, and Bezos, Musk, and the hundreds of other nameless billionaires and Wall Street execs who you've never even heard of have deep pockets. And when government can be bought, that's how you get in a situation where economic inequality is worsening and accelerating, because now the government itself is working to deepen that inequality. The Reagan tax cuts, the Bush tax cuts, the 2017 Trump tax cuts, and now this big bill. They're all accelerating the race to the bottom that we're caught in. I have no problem with money. I like money. Most people like money. I like buying stuff. Buying stuff is fun. But when a select few people are literally so rich that they can buy democracy, then we don't really have a democracy anymore. And so I return to Jeff Bezos's gaudy, moronic fest of a wedding. Because if Jeff is allowed to destroy our planet and our democracy, I feel like it's only fair that about 1,000 Venetians are allowed to up his wedding. And you know what? They got his ass. Just a little bit. The wedding venue was forced to change from a venue in Venice's city center to an alternate location after activists threatened to fill the canal with inflatable crocodiles to block guests from entering. Which, I can't lie, is a hilarious way to have a wrench thrown in your $50 million royal wedding. You had every scenario mapped out, Jeff, but you failed to consider Venetians armed with pool noodles and floaties. The balls to show up in Venice, which is a city that is like acutely aware of the effects of climate change, a city that's suffering from a cost of living crisis and struggling to deal with over-tourism, and to try and use it as a backdrop for your Temu royal wedding is insane. 200-person wedding with 95 private jets landing at Venice's airport. 95 private jets. I mean, could Leonardo DiCaprio and Orlando Bloom not carpool, at least? Again, Jeff and the Funky Bunch here have declared that they're above society's rules. They can purchase our politicians, off to space when they feel like it. I mean, this was a guy who was going to dismantle a historic bridge in order to squeeze his $500 million yacht through. So if he doesn't want to be a part of society, why does society have to welcome him? He wants to be waving at the crowds in Venice from the canal like he's the Prince of Prime Video, and that's not how it works. Do you think he knows what people think about him? Like, I don't know. And again, people will come after me and say, why are you demonizing success? Why are you demonizing wealth? I'm not. Again, like I said, I like Lamborghinis, okay? I like, Gucci, whatever. You can have all those things without destroying democracy. I'm not going after people who reach a certain net worth. I'm going after people who reach a certain net worth and then go, you know what? I should choose who the president is. That's bad. That's all I'm saying. Let's go back to 1965 again, okay? The top marginal tax bracket was 70%. It's 37% today. And that's just the income tax brackets that apply to us normies. Okay, guys like Jeff Bezos, they have ways around that. So why can't we raise Jeff Bezos' taxes? Someone explain it to me. I know the reason it won't happen is because half of Congress is in his pocket or the pocket of people just like him. But I mean, what is radical about saying it's probably not healthy for society that so much wealth and power is concentrated in so few hands? How would Jeff Bezos' life materially change if he had 100 billion instead of 200 billion? Like, would he not be able to survive a $25 million wedding versus a $50 million wedding? I mean, $25 million for a wedding, why even have one at that point? I agree with the Venetians. If you can afford to rent out Venice, you can afford to pay more in taxes. And I'm not saying pay more as in we're taking all his Bezos bucks. I'm saying pay more as in at least pay the same as the rest of us. From 2014 to 2018, Jeff Bezos paid an effective tax rate of 0.98%. There are drug dealers out there who pay more in taxes than Jeff Bezos does. 0.98% versus you paid what, 20, 30, 40%? So yeah, it's not that I care about this wedding in a vacuum. Rich people spend money on dumb shit all the time, but it's what this wedding represents. The same as that Katy Perry joyride to space. Which is that these people own the world, they own the government, and somehow that's not enough. They have to be seen owning everything. Jeff Bezos doesn't want to just be rich, he wants to shove it down your throat. He wants you to love him for it too. He wants you to read about why his wife is a revolutionary for taking a ride in his dick rocket to space. He wants you to compare his wedding to that of the royal families, with a star-studded guest list, and for you to wave back at him as he robo-cackles down the canal. At least the Rockefellers and Carnegies had the decorum to hide their Illuminati parties away in the countryside, away from the rest of us. Not do spreads for Vogue magazine. And let me read to you from this Vogue article on the wedding real quick. Just please. Yet, the wedding is extremely intimate, Sanchez tells me. She wants to do a very classic and elegant wedding. She didn't want to do something very flashy or bling bling. This will be the second marriage for both Bezos and Sanchez, who have 7 children behind them. Famously, the two were engaged in May of 2023 on their 3-masted, 417-foot sailing yacht. Yes, it's nothing flashy or bling bling. It's a small, intimate affair. 200 people, $50 million. And also, did I mention that we got engaged on my husband's 417-foot yacht? With all disrespect possible, from the bottom of my heart, go f*** yourself. We are in a season of love this summer, folks. But I must say, I hope this marriage fails. I hope there are many sleepless nights to come, many fraught evenings, many arguments. I hope the passion fades quickly, and that in due time there's nothing left between these two but the empty husk that is wealth without purpose. And yes, I am a hater, but you know what? They know where their interests lie, and they're gonna keep beating us normies every time until we finally realize that our interests are diametrically opposed to those of Jeff Bezos. For the love of God, as your birthday gift to me, Please don't buy anything on Amazon for Prime Day. You don't need any of it, and do you really want to fund the honeymoon of these losers? Cancel your Prime subscription, register to vote. Let's go, people. The planet's burning. We're running out of time to this thing. And if we can't vote the billionaire interests out, then I'll see you in Venice, and I'm bringing my inflatable crocodile.